Here we are blessed to have Dr. Jatasankar Tewari with us to share his vast and in-depth knowledge on the topic hospitality and tourism in new normal world post-COVID era. Dr. Jatasankar Tewari, Associate Professor, School of Tourism and Hospitality Services Management in Indira Gandhi National Open University and published various papers and books in the field of hotel management, front office management, and culinary tourism. Let's welcome Dr. Jadashankar R. Tiwari as our distinguished speaker. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Today, I will be sharing my views regarding tourism and hospitality in the new normal. See, recent pandemic, that was the COVID-19. This was an pandemic which has devastating effect on this, and the tourism and hospitality industry, rather all the service industries, are hardly hit by. What about this pandemic, this cause and all? We are aware because during pandemic we have a lot of video sessions and all, where we were told about how this pandemic occurred. Like this is caused by a virus, which is RNA virus, and the worst part is that this virus changes its form, replicate inside a host cell. Similar is the case with these viruses. They also keep changing their structure, their pattern, and this is how they react to the situation, the climatic condition, and all. So worst part is that it mutates, a new variant is created, and we have already been uh, exposed to its two waves. First one was in the 20th, and then second was the Delta wave. It was more dangerous wave. Then now a third wave is about to come, as we are seeing from the various news channels and all. Like Omicron, a new variant is coming, and it is having high infection rate, but thank God it is having very less mortality rate. From the first in 2020, in the March, when the lockdown was enacted as a measure to control this pandemic, several things have been changed. Our life hasn't remained as we were. Now things have changed so much that we are seeing certain change around us, and what is now called new normal. Earlier, we people were very free to move anywhere. Wherever we wished, we were able to go there. There was no restriction on travel, no restriction of meeting with the friends, families, vacations, holidays, going anywhere. It all was free. Now, things have been changed. We are now being restricted, and several things have become a norm for the daily routine. One of them is wearing a face mask, becoming a new normal. People are wearing now everywhere just to prevent themselves and others from spread of COVID. Second has become normal is a social distancing, rather physical distancing. Social distancing was the case when lockdown was implemented so that we should not meet other people, to prevent its spread. And now the things have been relaxed, and we are allowed to the places of work and all. Hence, a physical distancing is a new normal, where we are asked to remain 1 meter away from each other. Frequent hand washing and hygiene, highest level of hygiene and sanitation are becoming paramount importance in this time. So, what happens? We all aware of what has become a new phenomena, a new normal. But then things are not normal yet, because we are not as free as we were before this pandemic has came. So pandemic has hardly hit the tourism and hospitality sector and economy of all the country across globe, specifically those countries which were primarily dependent on tourism because the condition prevailed due to the COVID-19. Movement of the people were restricted and tourism cannot happen in such a condition. We cannot have a tour, maybe a virtual tour can be there with the help of technology, but we will not be able to enjoy a place which we want to be there. So since travel is restricted, people movement is restricted, so entire sectors that are related to tourism has been shut off and leading to the loss of job, maybe permanently or reduction in salaries in most of the cases. Now, the various sectors of tourism are like hotels, tour operators, travel agencies, car rentals. These all sectors were hardly hit. The international tourist arrival dropped by 85% in January, May 21 quarter as compared to the same period to 2019 and 65% over 2020. So there is a total drop of 73% in the international tourist arrival. So as pandemic hit entire globe, most of the country imposed travel restriction. The next hard hit industry was the airlines. Most of the airplanes were in the hangar. They were not flying. Only a time was there when few flights were just to restore the normal supply of daily need and few medicines. So the sharp decline represented a loss of 147 million international arrival, and with every arrival there is economics involved. Lot of transaction of monetary transactions are involved when a tourist come to a place. If a tourist come to a place, so first of all he has to expenditure on travel like any mode of travel. So maybe a cab, maybe a railway, maybe airplane. So all the reservations in this area were cancelled. Lot of money has been lost in this pandemic. Now things are opening, but then with several restrictions. A lot of restriction is imposed. Say, uh, air travel, though it started, but then due to the suspicion of being spread of Omicron, flights were cancelled, few trains were cancelled. Though recently Indian Railway has started its train in full flash, but restrictions are there. People are afraid. We are going everywhere, many places to visit and enjoy our life. If we are feeling scared, feeling scared of things, meeting with the people, chance of getting contact with the disease, we are not moving. And though after since the first lockdown was over, the second lockdown, there was a large movement of people from one place to another. I have an example of Nainital. There, as the measures were not very stagnant, though people started traveling to the place, and High Court of Nainital, Uttarakhand, had to take suo motu action against this large movement. Then again, it was restricted, and several protocols were imposed before traveling. So, like one was the having a negative RT-PCR report while traveling. So people were afraid, and still people are afraid. Then we talk about this hotel sector. Uh, if we just go through the slides that is present in front of you, you may say that the position of the room in 2019 when it was the best time, because 2019 was the time when international arrival hit 1.4 billion. So that was the best time. It was a 10 consecutive year when the tourism was getting better and better. In that time, we were having 89,000 room requirements in March, and then slowly it was less. And then compared to 2020, if we say, uh, this is something, uh, the period when the lockdown was imposed and lot of loss of room revenue was there, and the average daily rate for a hotel room dropped to minus rather than being in plus, which was there. Now it dropped to the minus, where hotels were not able to survive, they were not able to pay for it, and we have seen that the major hotel chain has stopped their function, they have shut down, and various hotels, small hotel and even chain hotel are at stake. They are at the verge of liquidity. They need to be sold out, but then there is another problem that nobody is there to buy also, because everybody is facing financial crunch. Next, in 2020, the demand over the various cities declined to more than 50 and 55%. Gurgaon demand was declined by 57%, Pune 63%, Ahmedabad 42%. In the leisure market, which the leisure destination of country like Goa and Rajasthan suffer 83 to 63, 62% decline in the room demand. So the entire hotel industry was at setback, and still several hotels have temporarily shut down or closed down their property and that remain closed. Others have significantly scaled down their operations. Instead of operating a full-fledged hotel has started limited their work to, say, because stay facility was not allowed as per the government law. Only they were allowed to sell their food, and that too through the home delivery, not to their hotel or restaurant operations. So the hotel in the lockdown period, and still the hotel were only restricted to support the quarantine. The only thing that hotel industry could do to face off this pandemic situation, that instead of operating a hotel itself, they started their property as a quarantine facility for the people who were supposed to be quarantined, because the decision of lockdown was taken all of a sudden, and there were a lot of people there in the transit to take care of them. A lot of hotels converted themselves into a quarantine center. Then, furthermore, these hotels were getting their revenue from the medical staff who were supposed to stay in the hotel, rather than they were traveling to their place, so that their family and the people living in their area cannot get contact the disease. Then international travelers who were waiting waiting to move to their country as and when conditions are favorable, and international flights were allowed and people were allowed to move. And then several hotel or corporate sector who were much more friendly to their staff, they were using these hotels as a quarantine. The Indian tourism hospitality industry, which is dependent on travel, trade, and hospitality, has been significant contributor to the GDP, 6.8, and it is contributing to 8% of the job in the country. But 3.8 crore people have lost their jobs permanently or with a reduced salary. And a study suggests that entire industry in the country suffered a loss of nearly 5 lakhs crore. Though it's a study, but then we need to understand this loss cannot be assessed in a very short duration of time, because several other participants or players in the hospitality industry or travel industry are there whose loss cannot be assessed. Globally, tourism suffered a heavy loss of $460 billion, and the tourist inflow or tourist arrival dropped to 42% globally. So, considering all these problems which we are facing in the in this scenario, we have several things to do so that industry, especially tourism, hospitality, and all the service industry, insurance that can be sold from your home. Later, work from home was employed, but then work from home is only applicable where you have selling, where you are having certain product to sell. Say, for example, grocery shops and all, they were survived, medical survived, but when a service like a hotel room, unless and until we are having a person to stay in it, it cannot be work from home. Nobody will pay us in the hotel. Okay, I am just virtually coming to your hotel and I am staying. So there is no virtual stay, neither work from home possible, neither it is possible in a travel agency where car are at standstill, people are away from the destination. So this industry suffered a lot. So now what we can do to revive it? So considering the severity of what is happening, we should transmit a message of security, normality through security, flexibility, and hospitality. Now, what we can do in security, people are feeling insecure. Earlier, we were moving anywhere, we were touching a lot of things, but now, thing is that we think twice before touching a surface because we know a virus, we can contact with the virus while touching an unknown surface. So it's important to convey our guests that you are in constant communication with local authorities. Like, see, once a person is in your place, he has came to your place, he might be feel insecure. Like, we are not aware when a new type of restriction is imposed, a new travel guideline may come, which may affect our entire plan. So, our hotel or tourism people should remain in contact with the local authorities constantly so that they can inform their clients about what is going to happen in near future. If not accurately, then up to some extent, uh, a near nearby thing like what could happen and what could happen, and he suggests. Next is the create a register. We can create a register where we can track the movement of our employee as well as the guests who are coming to us. Like, if a condition occurs, then a contract tracing app and all these technological things are employed to create to trace the contact and restrict the further spread of the disease. So we should, as an establishment of a hotel or establishment a tour operator or travel agency operator, we should have a register where we could locate the recent history where my guest who is coming to the hotel, from where he is coming, where he has been there, or my employee also, whether he has traveled to a place which is restricted by the government, or what is the uh, regulation for quarantine and isolation and all. So we should maintain a Next, we can uh, make our guests feel secure is we can, as a hotel operator, we can restrict our guests to use public transport. Rather, hotel vehicle may be provided to them so that they can visit the place where they want, or a pickup drop facility by the hotel so that uh, they are feeling secure. Next, frequent in a hotel, we have a laundry facility. Laundry facilities extended to the guest as well as to the hotel employee. A high standard of cleanliness and hygienically maintained laundry and uniform to the employee of the hotel so that they are protected as well as they protect the guest. Then there are certain other laundry items like bed linen and bathroom linen. We say like bed sheet, blankets, and all. They should be completely sanitized at departure of every guest. When a new guest is coming, it should be perfectly washed, clean, and sanitized. And personal protective equipment PPE should be there for the hotel employees also, because we need to safeguard our employee, and in turn we will be able to save the our guest also. Now we have to train the employee to deal with the COVID-19 situation, like identification of the symptoms and quarantine. And we should have a temperature control system, since in hotel we are operating several areas where a large gathering of people is there, like restaurant, like banquet hall. So we should have a well ventilation system and a temperature control system in a way to uh, stop this uh, disease condition or spread of the disease. And when we are recruiting or appointing a person or to supply the hotel supplies, groceries and vegetables and all, we should also track them. We should also take care that they follow the highest standard of hygiene and sanitation, because food we are serving is also a part where we have to take care. Next is the flexibility measure. Now we have to be very flexible because condition at present is such that we are not aware what could happen in next few days, what new guideline or new policy can arrive. So hotel should be very flexible in their cancellation policies. Like earlier, uh, hotel were charging, or even the railways and airlines were charging when we cancel. The cancellation charge was levied. So, in order to increase the flow of tourists and guests, we should think on the cancellation policy, revision of the cancellation policy, so that we may be able to make guests feel, because see, we are not aware what the new restriction may come and what a medical emergency may arise. So cancellation policies, I mean, leaving a charge on cancellation should be avoided, and we should allow modification in their arrival before, even 24 hours before. So we should be flexible in check-in and check-out time also, because in hotel we are very particular about the check-in, check-out time. Rather, check-in we are more focused on the check-out time, which is 12 noon in most of the hotels. So some large hotel are offering in the hospitality, they are offering 24 by 7 medical care and insurance service agreement maybe made. Some hotel have started like vaccination center where they are offering that you should come to their hotel and you stay for a night and you will be vaccinated, and thus you can have a 1 day vacation in the hotel. Next is the last lot of assistance is required at the end of the case so that they can feel comfortable. Now, in order to revive tourism in new normal, we have to create COVID ready destinations. Like as we are aware, a social distancing is prevailing. So we had to assess and enforce the carrying capacity to enable social distancing at the tourist destination. What is carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is defined by the World Tourism Organization, the maximum number of people that can visit a tourist destination at the same time without causing destruction and physical, economic, or socio-cultural environment. Like it's the number of the people who can visit. Say, for example, let me take an example of Taj Mahal. So, it if a large number of people entering into Taj Mahal, so what will happen? They will there may be a stampede may occur. Lot of things people will be in contact. So a certain number of people who can visit a place at a time without disturbing the environment of that place, without disturbing or creating any hindrance in others, is that number is the carrying capacity. So if carrying capacity is being calculated for all the destination or major destination or the destination which is frequently visited in any area in the country, then we can uh, impose prior registration. We can impose certain tax, or we can say that we will not be accepting much tourists than this. Like as I came to know that earlier Bhutan was not accepting more than 10,000 tourists in a year. So once that number is complete, they say, sorry, we will not be accepting. Similarly, we can find out the carrying capacity following the COVID guidelines. Say, for we are aware how much the area of the tourist destination, say for example, Qutub Minar here in Delhi or Taj Mahal or any other place, what is the area of that and how we can have that people density in that particular area. So we can restrict. After having this much people, we will not be allowing further unless and until some people from that area leave that particular destination. So if carrying capacity of, it's a high time to assess the carrying capacity of all of our major tourist destinations so that we can restrict. As I said earlier, that after relaxation in 2020, a large number of people visited Nainital, and there was overcrowding, and there was a long queue of vehicles as a vehicle road jam occurred, and then High Court of Uttarakhand has taken suo motu action and directed the government to stop such overcrowding at the place. So once we are able to assess the carrying capacity of a tourist destination, we may restrict the movement of the people according to that. So if we follow that, we will be able to control any kind of disease, not the COVID, in future also, if such kind of thing arise, since we are aware that we will not be allowing more than a restricted number of people in a particular area, things will be under control. Next is next is the we need to have a very good waste management system. Most of you will be agree when you travel to any city of the country, let it be any. I will give you the example of my city. I mean, New Delhi. When you enter from UP side, Ghaziabad side, Ghazipur is the place where you can find a huge mountain of garbage. A huge mountain of garbage you will find. See, and most of the country, most of the cities in the country, having such kind of waste distributed or thrown some at the periphery of the city, whatsoever periphery may be, maybe 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, whatsoever. So garbage management system is a very, very important because such kind of places are from where disease can spread. Not COVID, but COVID like any other disease can spread. So we should have a very good garbage management system along with the dealing of biomedical waste. Biomedical waste again, see, a lot of hospitals, lot of the industry also, they are throwing off their waste without having any proper disposal system. So we have to stick now because time has came when we need to stick on the good garbage and waste management system so that it could not affect our health by spreading diseases. Next is we need to develop tourism destinations. We need to develop new destination. Why? Because most of the people are coming to the same destination over and over again. If I take the example of Uttarakhand, before even independence, there were two famous destinations, Nainital and Mussoorie. And more than 70 years have been passed in Uttarakhand, we are still having only those two destinations where most of the people are going. Instead, there are several other places which need to be explored and it may be converted into a good tourist spot. Similarly, in the most part of the country, we are not having very, destination uh, which were recently developed. Maybe a few destinations are developed recently, but most of them are the old one where a large amount of people are traveling. A mass travel is also dangerous because mass movement of people again will spread such kind of diseases which we are facing today. So mass tourism is also should be restricted. Instead, we should develop certain off-beaten tracks. We may suggest as a tourist or as a tourist operators, uh, inbound traveler or outbound traveler, whatsoever tourism unit we are running, we should also uh, find certain off-beaten track, and we should be able to suggest the client who are coming us for see because every time when you are visiting a known place may not give you that much of comfort or feeling of happiness. A new place, in new ways may be always better, and it will increase the tourist satisfaction, a kind of satisfaction where he comes to know various kind of things are there like cultural tourism may be promoted, eco-tourism may be promoted. Such kind of thing can always be a better option. Next, what is very important in this new normal is we should promote the responsible tourism. Responsible tourism is not any kind of tourism, rather it's a responsible, it says responsible tourism because we as a traveler or all the stakeholder of the tourism take the responsibility of sustainability, making things available for the other also, beside using us precisely in a manner that it will not have any impact on the future generation to get. Now, a responsible tourism or responsibility maybe of three kinds: social responsibility, economic responsibility, and environmental responsibility. It's high time to be a responsible tourist, be a responsible traveler, be a responsible travel segment entrepreneur or employee. So social responsibility will be like if we are not feeling well, if we are having some kind of ailment or problem or any disease condition, we should avoid traveling. We should meet the people. We should respect their culture, such kind of things. And then, furthermost, that important is the environmental responsibility. We, as a traveler, many a time I have seen people throwing garbage, littering there here and there. It's one example is the peanuts. Most of the time, people just purchase peanut from, and then they are throwing their uh, uh, them here and there. Like many a time, people may take a packet of chips, and after consuming, they throw here and there instead of throwing them in the dustbin. We are polluting our river streams, and many a time when I visited Haridwar, I have seen a lot of people leave their clothes there itself at the bank of the river after taking a holy bath. Now that again, last time when I visited, when they were cleaning the area in the Haridwar, so it was full of left garbage by the people. So people come to the places for the holy worship and all, and then they intentionally or unintentionally they leave a lot of garbage there and there, polluting the stream, polluting the things. So these are the ways we will be able, if we practice, we will be able to uh, revive our tourism and hospitality sector. Uh, I'm thankful that I had a wonderful audience. They have kept listening me, and thank you for being a wonderful audience and listening.